Welcome to this segment of Soul, Silence, and Sound. This is brought to you by BeSimply.
Stars, trees, clouds, and the moon. They all have a meaning and they look just like you.
Silence and Sound brought to you by BeSimply. This is Suzanne, and I want to thank you all for joining me here in this moment. Today, we're going to talk about the answers. They're blowing in the wind. You remember that Bob Dylan song? It's really, this lunar cycle has felt like that, a journey, and how many times you have to repeat something until you realize that you want to let it go, that you're ready to move beyond that so you can start to apply the wisdom that you've learned. So hopefully during this lunar cycle, or whenever you're receiving this information, will meet you just perfectly, that you've begun to realize that you are ready to let go of those metaphorical riverbanks. And a couple reasons: because you've started to see the true colors of things in and around you that have inspired you to release those attachments and move forward. And so what we've been talking about, especially during this cycle, is that we have this ability to grasp, and that grasping causes suffering. So once we're ready to listen, and this is part of what happens during these segments, little Dharma here, then we go into silent meditation and then sound. This gives you an opportunity to move beyond the mental chatter in your mind, maybe the awareness of your body doing certain things, and then to really go into those deeper layers of self so that you can find those answers, my friend. So if you started to realize where you want to be, what is being presented to you, and those answers are kind of like you ask someone a question, they give you the answer. Sometimes they're not what you want to hear, but combining them like with the true colors of what you're observing, and maybe you're not in full acceptance of what you're observing, but the outer and inner world is reflecting to you the answer. And the beautiful part when we get the answer is if we have the will and the discipline, we can release that which we're holding on to, that prevents us from moving beyond these patterns that we've been in, these tendencies and these attachments. And then when we do that, that's when that surrender happens. Like at the end of a good yoga class is the shavasana, moving past the physical body and just giving yourself that little bit of respite so that you can really practice being aware, conscious, and awake all at the same time. And what happens in that moment is that you start to connect to that ether, you connect to the answers that are nonverbal, and they suddenly hit you and you're like, whoa, that's what it is. And that is super exciting. And it really, after you've had that experience, even one time or several times, you'll start to remember it, and your system will remember it, and it'll elevate your frequency that you're vibrating in and around your world that you're in. And that is beautiful because then it helps lift you out of maybe anxiety, depression, quandary, running around with your mind too much. It'll help lift you up without you having to do anything. And so as we dive into these answers today, I really welcome you just for a moment to think back to that which about 3 weeks ago started to be reflected to you in your microcosm. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world, but you are not responsible for all of that. And if you are and you're listening, then hang in there. You can apply this too, and hopefully utilize this information for the greater good. So either way, whatever your micro or macrocosm, if we bring it back to where we're at personally, where we're impacting our community, our locality, and how we can use our consciousness to create efforts that are beneficial to your well-being and the world around you. And so when we look at those true colors, I'll use the metaphor. It's like being in a relationship. You didn't realize who you got in because you were super excited and swooned by maybe, those love molecules, and, they didn't really allow you to see objective reality. Because even, people can say they grasp at maybe things that aren't great habits, but people can grasp at things that potentially feel good and aren't harming them, but they can blind them. And so that's why we really want to encourage me, and maybe the unseen, each and every one of you to listen deeply, to create those pauses to listen. When our ego is over attached to what we think we know, we become blind. When our heartstrings are over attached to this feedback loop that's creating all these nice, beautiful love chemicals with someone or something, people, places, or things, that creates a blindness and takes you out of that observation seat. And that is really important, And then on the other side of it, when the ego's too attached, thinking that it knows based on what the ego has learned, maybe in this lifetime or in the current circumstance, that attachment can bring in pride, where then there's the chance of ignorance to arise up, because when we're attached to what we think we know, and this is the only way, that limits our ability to be the observer. And so the observer, which is cultivated in the practice of meditation, is able to start to see things from all directions. And as the observer refines one's emotional intelligence, meaning that we can observe a lot of things that can create an emotional trigger, an upheaval that keeps us out of being able to observe objectively. And when that occurs, again, blinders come in because we are reacting to the emotions. The same can be if someone's really intellectual and they're really fixated on intellectual analysis or awareness or understanding of something, and maybe they can't even access their emotional intelligence because they drive from their mind. So we want to bring both of those things in sync as information, data for you, and then the observer can take that information and there see more things, because the observer ideally does not have a bias, meaning that it's not attached to an agenda, an ideology, or anything. It's merely wanting to observe what is within the greatest totality possible. And this is the cool thing about death, if you want to be excited about death, is that when one crosses outside of the physical realm into the in-between, I like to call it, they can see all things. And depending on how much they have practice for that moment, and this is why we want to practice for the death gateway, then they can see clearer of what is. And some of these rudimentary things in the third dimension that we get attached and we're drawn towards, we have preferences and biases and all kinds of things, those can distract us in that moment. And so the practice of meditation helps prepare us that we can observe to the best of our ability and not emotionally or mentally create ignorance or distraction that keeps us from seeing what is. And how that's helpful is, imagine looking at an old school map and you have some kind of built-in memory about going down a certain road, and you may actually not even allow yourself to see that road as an access point to where you need to go, because you have maybe some traumas, some memories that aren't pleasant. Maybe there's a embed along that pathway that you might travel, that road. So that distracts you. But when we become objective, that past experience isn't here in the present moment. So all those pathways on that map are equally possible for you to travel on. And then when one's objective and in neutrality with their emotional intelligence, one can hear really profoundly and have an instinct of where they're to go. And that hearing, I am careful about using that word, is when we hear, it's not something that is words like you're hearing coming out of my mouth. It's like a knowing. And the way I'll share this story is when I was young, we had like a rec center. We would go to a pool that was place where we did swim workouts and then family swim time, all that stuff. And it had a separate baby pool. And at this point I could already swim. My brother was fairly young. My parents were with him in the baby pool area, low fence separating that area to the big pool to keep those little babies safe. I'm in the big pool, far end, and someone's holding me underwater right under the lifeguard stand. So two things are happening. I'm underwater being held down by someone, potentially going to drown, and the lifeguard is not noticing because they're distracted more outside, not something immediate below. If they were a better listener, they would have felt my electromagnetic transmission at that point. I popped out of my body, and because I'm electromagnetically attached to my parents, my father noticed, and I saw this, but I'm underwater, imagine, sensed it. So his ding, 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 ding went off, and he goes flying over. He jumped over that fence, or so it appeared to me, and came and got that kid, pulled the kid out of the water and saved me. And so this is what happens when we have a better perceptual skills and we listen to all the built-in feeds from the electromagnetic relationships that we have to one another. And that was a nonverbal listening, but he felt it and was able to rescue me in that moment. I might have maybe had the power if I didn't get his attention or whatever in that moment, but that was the destiny of the moment for me, and to be freed from the wild boy that wanted to drown me. So I share this because this is super profound when you welcome yourself to, one, see those true colors, two, to start digesting those and being objective with what is available, and then three, to really be willing to listen to the answers so that you can shift your interface with the reality from the inside out. And that really, really, really deepens these beautiful things around you. It's so exciting when we start living from this place. And so while there may be a lot of dissonance right now and uncertainty for people, and people are scared because things are shifting and changing, but within all this chaos that's perceptually happening, there's full potentiality. That's the beautiful thing. And that's the same thing that can happen at that death gateway, is because it could feel chaotic, disorienting. However, if we train ourselves before we get there to be a really good observer and to really mitigate any baggage that we've carried from before here to that moment, then we can really see the truth of what is, what was, and we can move forward with clear knowing and clear understanding. And the other caveat to this is that when we get these answers, and sometimes the answers aren't what we want, but it gives us the ability to say, okay, wow, this is the reality of what is in this moment. And now that I'm willing to listen and let go, I can really redirect my energy towards where it belongs. Because sometimes we have a nostalgia attachment to these old moments and wanting to like replicate them, yet there's all these new ones to arrive in the future and the present moment too. So without attachment, then we're not trying to force something in a direction that's not destined to be. I always tell my clients, you're going to meet your mile markers, and the way you choose to travel there and what you choose to reside in your heart and your mind, getting there is up to you. That's where you express your free will and weave the future so that it's for the highest benefit for yourself and others. So one simple practice I want to give you with observation in this next week, little less, leading into the new moon. And understand the moon has this like a little bit before and a little bit after. So you can apply this in every lunar cycle. No matter what you think about the moon, it's here. So we want to work with what it's doing. And that will lead you to higher states of consciousness if you truly potentially understand what's happening with the moon. And these segments are really to help support you navigate and interface in a way that's healthy and well and rooted in love and awareness. So what I'd like you to do is practice just observing, to do the recapitulation of where you've been these past 3 weeks, what things have been revealed to you, what they're like little, it's almost like, solving your own Scooby-Doo episode, realizing what's been revealed to you, what clues you have seen and picked up, what things you've had to process and face during this lunar cycle. And then from there, observe what unfolds in this next week, and you'll start to get the answers. And simultaneously, you'll start to get a little bit of the medicine of the next lunar cycle. And with that can give you motivation to be in fluid action. And that will also help you refine your ability to observe. And then at any time, if you notice that your emotions are leading you, or your affect goes wild and you're like, oh gosh, I'm way out of plumb here, that's where you want to just stop, pause, use your breath, regulate your system, take a walk around the block, and then reapproach. And when you feel yourself triggered about anything, that is showing you something that's not resolved on the inside to the outside world. And it may be asking you to do many things with that information. And ultimately, if you can utilize just the basic concept of how can I serve this? If something's triggering you, then you say, how can I serve this? How can I do something to help, And if you're destined to help within that moment, or for yourself or someone else or some big cause, you'll be led, it'll be supported. And if not, then you'll know, like, wow, the biggest thing I can do is actually create a more inner peace for myself, where this is not at rest from the inside out. And our humanity, our emotional and communication skills are kind of anywhere from a range of like a 3-year-old to maybe a 6th grader. And our humanity is ready to really harmonize all of that, bring ourselves up to at least a junior high child or preteen, and go from there. And some of you might say, I'm way beyond that. I would say pretty much from being in private practice, a wellness practice, working with people psychospiritually, our society is pretty much like a 3-year-old to 6th grade. And that's no disrespect. Remember, we have an eternity to evolve and continue to strengthen our self-awareness within all circumstances. The other point I want to state about being the observer and keeping the observer and the ego in alignment is that right now, because we have technological interfaces that are kind of trying to give people shortcuts, understand, just like a math coprocessor of a computer, even if you don't know how one works, if it gets running too fast, what will happen, or overloaded, it'll shut down. And so the same thing is that the universe, the unexplainable, will handle some of this regulation of how consciousness has been expanding. And then a technological interface might be attempting to create shortcuts where it's not necessary, and it will actually be to the detriment of the users and the interface. However, it'll eventually shut down because it's not in harmony with the greater unfoldment of the cosmic tapestry. So there's always these checks and balances that we can't account for, but humans that are communicating from a 3-year-old to a 6th grader kind of get a little naive in thinking that they can control all these things. They want to control them because of attachment. They like to cause suffering for themselves and others. So if you're inspired to step out of that and really meet yourself where you're at, you don't have to run ahead. You can take a nice saunter down the road with yourself, your cosmic road, and start to really listen for the answers, my friend, and practice being emotionally intelligent and an observer without getting too involved. So from there, let's go into meditation. That was a lot. I want you to just let that all wash over you. And I welcome you to take a nice, gentle breath in and exhale out. Again, inhale. And exhale. Good. One more inhale. And exhale. Good. And as you continue to breathe in and out, I welcome you just to look at your spine, observe it, not necessarily physically look at it, but observe it. Bring it up, 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 up. Drop the shoulders down. And then from there, focus, soft gaze at a focal point down in front of you. And with that, I just want you to gently watch your natural breathing pattern. Take another deep breath in and out. And gently from there, I welcome you to gently lean back and recline or move fully into Shavasana, a prone position on your back with your palms facing upward as we transition into receiving sound. As you settle in, just take a nice gentle breath into the heart and out. Again, inhale. And exhale. And one more inhale. And exhale. And then continue to follow your natural breathing pattern.
Doje ane ne ane ram o ane ai ane ane am ane ane am anondo ane ai ane ane om ano ane ai ane ane ram ane ane ram anondo ane je ai ane ane om ano ane ai ane ane om ane ane om anondo ane alam ane ane om ano ane ai ane ane om ane ane om anondo ane ai ane ane lam ano ane ai ane ane ram ane ane ram.
Taking a soft, gentle breath, breathing in and out. Gently bringing your awareness into the physical surroundings and my speaking voice. And when you're ready, you're just going to gently roll over to one side or the other. Take a few more breaths and then rise up into a seated position. And once you do that, take a few more breaths in and out, just acclimating yourself to your surroundings. And right now, I would like just to welcome you to express silent gratitude for all aspects of yourself. And as you do that, remember that when we practice observing and really hearing those answers, this allows us to see all things about ourselves. And it's important that we express gratitude for all aspects of self, that we can love, I like to call them the jagged edges, just as much as we love our strengths, just to love all aspects, because that will help you transform. And that is what we want, is transformation and evolution and happiness and joy. So if inspired right now, you can also send out some kindness, compassion, gratitude to other places, people, places, and things that you feel it would be welcomed, wanted, and needed. That's really a beautiful thing to do. Good. And then gently from there, I really welcome, as I had indicated on leading into the meditation, for each and every one of you to practice observing in this next week and leading into the new moon, and notice where the mind or the emotional center or even the body maybe pull you out of that observation state. That's good information. And then also notice the answers that are in and around you that don't involve grasping or forcing, that you just feel into what's in and around you and the world that you are living in this moment. And good news, remember that you only need to be responsible for you and your most immediate tribe that you contribute to and support, and that's it. And then from there, we can all work at being in this beautiful dance together that will have many facets, many differences, but we can celebrate them all and find harmony within that universal motion that we weave with. So I want to thank each and every one of you for being here in this moment. I appreciate you and I applaud you for taking the time out for yourself. And I want to thank Random Rab, Dante Marino, Kadri Scott. Please celebrate the arts. Their interface with me for these segments is really appreciated. We're going to exit out with little Kadri Scott. Please sit back and maybe allow her to be the bridge back into your moving reality in and around you. And until next time, this is Suzanne signing out with a full heart, a soft gaze, a deep bow, and a namaste. Be simply.